This is an amazing place. I don't know if you sitting at home are as excited as I am right here. This is a real discovery. This is what barn finding is all about. I mean, this is it, man. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Whoa, whoa. Oh wow, I know what it is. That's a first generation Corvette. Yep. Ah. Hi, this is Tom Cotter. I've been hunting down cars since I'm 12 years old, and I'm still doing it today. Follow me in this series as we hunt down hidden classics all across America. You may remember a couple of episodes ago, we met a gentleman named Dean who showed us his Edsel station wagon that he stored in his friend's towing yard in South Carolina. Well, he also has another group of cars in North Georgia. I can't wait to see what he's got. So this is a Rambler Marlin, which was AMC or Rambler Motor Company's version of a muscle car to compete against Barracuda and the Mustangs. So a 292 V8, and it's got only power brakes, no power steering, no air conditioning. I live near Charlotte, North Carolina. There were guys in Statesville, North Carolina that entered one of these new in the 24 Hours of Daytona and raced it against Ferraris and whatever. I don't know how they did, but I have to commend them for doing something like that. Now, if you look at the body design, it's actually pretty stylish. AMC did not have a lot of money for research and development, styling, whatever. So they had to work with cars that they had, and they used a lot of parts off the shelf. But back is actually quite attractive. If you look at, the roof comes down straight into this little, almost a fin right here. There's a picture of a Marlin on the gas cap, or it's an emblem actually, not a gas cap. But even though it's got a large trunk, it has a very small opening for the trunk. So if you had a large box or something, you'd be in trouble, even though the trunk is huge. So inside here, if I walk by this car in a parking lot, it's got an automatic, but actually it's got a 4-speed. The shift knob is an odd looking shift knob, but it's got a reverse lockout like a Mustang had. You see the clutch pedal down here, it's a 4-speed. Dean told me he'd take $3 grand for this car. I mean, it's not a big block Chevelle, but you won't find another one of these at a local car show or Cars and Coffee. It might be hard to get parts for, but thankfully, this seems to be very complete. This was a car that a guy was going to make a drag car out of, never finished it. This is a 63 Fairlane, Ford Fairlane sport roof. So it had the stylish rear C-pillar and no B-pillar. It's a hardtop, no engine. It had an automatic. I guess it had a V8. Yes, it had a V8. But look at this body, and he wants $600 for it. That's a good price. Okay, what else you got? El Camino.
Yep. Where's the hood on that bad boy?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. 2 4-barrel big block. What is that, a 502 or something?
It's a 427, but it could be a 396, I'm not sure. But it is a big block.
It's monstrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's got a bench seat, automatic on a column, pretty standard interior. And how much would that one be?
$8,500.
Your prices are pretty okay. Has a big old 98.
70 model.
455. Air conditioning, full power. How much you ask for that one?
I'd take $6 grand.
And it's a driving car.
A driving car, yeah.
So is that a 59 Chevy?
60.
60 Chevy.
348.
Really? Oh man.
4-speed car.
Well, this is one of the rarest cars we've seen in a while. 60 Chevy Impala, convertible, with a 348 cubic inch, 4-barrel, 4-speed car. You can see the shifter, yeah, it had a 3 on the tree, so now it's a 4 on the floor. That is a neat car, man.
I had to have 40 out of that one.
40 grand.
Yeah.
You know, and you can clean this up in a weekend. It would make the whole difference. Man, that's nice. I'll tell you what, Tear it. Don't. I'm gonna tell you what it is. Oh wow, I know what it is. That's a first generation Corvette.
Yep.
Ah! Jeez. Oh man. Wow, that's a Blue Flame 6 with 3 side draft Carter carburetors on there. Wow.
Number car.
This was a car that General Motors made to kind of replicate a Jaguar, a big straight 6-cylinder with side draft carburetors, and they never really did it. Some people raced these things, didn't do very well. What year is this? It's 53, 54?
54.
54. So it had an automatic, it had a power glide. You could only get a Corvette with a 6-cylinder and automatic for the first 2 years. 55 was the first year of a V8. And it went down to a 2-speed automatic. Well, that's probably the rarest car we've seen all day. So this flips up and the top comes out like that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a top right there.
That's the top.
3,600 1954 Corvettes were produced. They were all produced with the 6-cylinder, Blue Flame 6, 3 1-barrel Carter carburetors with a power glide automatic. If this were in concours condition, Hagerty prices out at $138,000. This has got the larger horsepower motor, believe it or not. The standard horsepower motor was 150 horsepower. This has got 155 horsepower. If it were in excellent condition, $93,200. Good condition, $67,000, and in fair condition, $44,700. In honesty, right now, the way you see this, it's probably in fair condition. But the fact that, you know, the hood that's missing is right there. The windshield is inside the building. He's got all the hubcaps for it, and it ran when it was parked here. I would say that you could bring this from fair condition to good condition in a week of cleaning, going through the hydraulics, get it running well, and bolt on the pieces it's missing. So this is probably a good condition car that's just not quite there yet. A little bit of elbow grease would do it. So this is a 61 Ford Sunliner, which was a convertible. 61 Ford. What motor's in that?
352, original motor, original transmission.
Convertibles always, the floors always rust out. What's the floor?
No, it's a pretty solid car.
3 on the tree? Oh, it's automatic, okay.
Automatic.
So Dean just said he would take $8,500 for this car. It's a 352, automatic on a column. It doesn't have the original front seat. It's got the original back seat. It's originally a blue car. The back seat's still blue. The front seat's not correct. But I think a pretty attractive car. This is an amazing place. I don't know if you sitting at home are as excited as I am right here. This is a real discovery. So that's a 57 Chevy Bel Air, 2-door, hardtop, no post. It's got no motor in it. It's got a hole cut out in the floor where a floor shifter was. So this was a hot rod. For you guys at home, I'm going to ask how much this car is because you might be interested in it. And he needs to clear out this property, so there might be some deals here. Dean, how much for the 57?
No motor, transmission like it is, $5,000.
$5,000. 1978 T-top, 4-speed. What engine? 350. Okay. So what do you ask for that? $6,000. There's some deals here, folks. That's a 280Z, I think. How much for that? $1,500. Is it a manual gearbox?
Yeah.
And then you got a Z carburetor. It looks like a 280 ZX Turbo. And how much for that one?
I'll take $5,000 for it.
$5,000. And it's
Original motor, original transmission.
And it runs.
New turbo on it.
And it runs.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what happens when the floor's right out in a convertible and you can't afford to do it right. You just lay a bunch of fiberglass cloth and Bondo in there and say a prayer. $2,000. $289? Is there any, like, what do you got in the garage? Anything good?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh boy. Grand Sport convertible. 455 GS, air conditioned, power steering, power brakes, convertible. Is that automatic or standard?
Automatic.
This is a 1970 Buick GS Stage 1 convertible. 232 were produced in 1970 convertible. It had 360 horsepower on its 455. Just to let you know how rare this car is and how much demand it is, In concours condition, this car's worth $163,000. In excellent condition, $137,000, $111,000 in good, and $63,600 in fair. Now, tell me, how'd you find this car?
This car came up at auction in Anderson. I bought it.
How long ago?
About 6 months.
Oh,
4 months.
Recently.
Recent, yeah.
Yep.
I knew this was coming up.
So you said this is a one-owner car?
It's a one-owner car.
And it runs nicely?
It runs really good.
Is this one of your for sale cars?
I'd put a price on it. Wouldn't care if I sold it or not. I'd take 50 for the car.
And if it had a battery, it would start right up.
Yeah, yeah. I've drove this car.
It shifts nicely.
Shifts nice, everything.
Disc brakes?
Probably. It's got drum brakes on it.
Oh, it does have drum. Look at that.
I think it's got drum on it, but
Yeah.
they're the wide drums.
Yeah.
But it is original motor. It is a one-owner.
All right, well, let's see what else you got in the woods here.
Okay.
How about for the Corvette? $2,000. So you got the engine, needs rebuilding. Got an automatic transmission, $2,000 for a Corvette. This is a '68 Chevelle SS396, matching numbers car, big block, 4-speed. What would you ask for this car?
7,500.
So for a big block, matching number Chevelle, 7,500. That's a no-brainer. Okay, so let's talk about '67. Now this is not an SS. It's not even a two-door. It's a four-door, but 283. No kidding. Okay, 283 two-barrel, little tiny motor. It's got power steering, manual brakes, no air conditioning, no power anything. It's got an automatic. It's a four-door. And what would you ask for this? $3,000. So big block, air conditioning, power brakes. So that's a 454. What would you ask for that?
Take 5,500 for it.
$5,500. So this is 64?
63.
63, okay. Oh, that's pretty sweet. So it's a 327
327 with 350 heads on it.
and
speed.
a 4-speed in a four-door. It's lowered. It is lowered, right?
Yep, it is lowered.
The chopped springs or something.
It's,
And it,
I don't know what it's called.
lowrider.
Yeah.
And so this runs
Yeah, it runs and drives. Good.
and you're selling that?
Yeah, I'll sell it.
What do you want? 4,500 bucks.
That's probably about it.
Yep. We're back in South Carolina on the western side of the state, and we've heard about a gentleman who's got a building with some unusual cars inside it, cars that many of us haven't even heard of. So we're going to go see what he's got. Hello, Sam.
Hey, good to see you, Tom.
Good to see you. This is what barn finding is all about. I mean, this is it, man. Whew. Tell us what you got here. So what's that pretty little shape right there?
This is called an ASA, and it plays into some of the Ferrari's history.
So that's an Abarth.
This is an Abarth, what's known as an early Alemano Spider.
So-
The next car is called a Zagato body double bubble.
Now, what are these?
These are the Berkeleys, a British car that was fiberglass and aluminum construction. It does have very unique kind of suspension that is tubular, more Formula car looking on some levels and that sort of thing, but interesting construction being so light.
So that's a steel body car, but the rest you have are aluminum?
Most of them. This particular car was a limited run car. It was a transition car, and it was called a Sestriere. I think it was named after some Italian.
Wow.
The next car there is called a Record Monza. That is a car that was more their race version, a little bit lighter, a little more low profile on the roof, that sort of thing.
You have a favorite car here of this whole group?
As far as maybe my favorite car might be the Record Monza. I think it's a pretty car and an interesting history to that car, that sort of thing.
Carlo Abarth was a guy like Carroll Shelby. He would take cars that were rather mundane and soup them up. A little bit bigger engines, bore them out, put headers on them and multiple carburetors, and make them into race cars like Carroll Shelby did with Mustang. And Abarth is a small car based on, instead of Shelby used Ford mechanicals, Abarth used Fiat mechanicals. So sometimes they use Fiat bodies, and sometimes they used their own special bodies. A body company called Zagato in Italy built cars for various companies. They would make a Zagato Aston Martin, Zagato Ferraris. Well, this is a Zagato double bubble, of which there are a couple in this room. And it's a double bubble because you can see it's got a roof that has a little hump in it. That's so your head could fit in that area if you were tall, and you wouldn't hit the headliner. So these cars were fast street cars, and they were fast little peppy race cars. Not like with a big V8. These had small engines, 750 cc's, 1,000 cc's. But because the car was so light, they really ripped. And because they were light, they handled really well. Now this is called a record Monza. It's a 750. Cars like this would run at Sebring and racetracks around the United States and also across Europe. I happen to like this purple one here. It has a different grille on it, a rather stylish car. This is a steel car. Most of these cars are aluminum. This Abarth happens to be steel. We're walking by a couple of odd cars here as well. These are not Abarths. These are called Berkeleys, or in England they call them Barclays. But here's a production-based car. It's a Fiat 600, and this is what Carlo Abarth would get a Fiat 600 and soup it up. Little motor, expand it, bore it out, carburetors, and make what Carroll Shelby did with the Mustang. Make a production-based vehicle into a race car. And this is tough. Fat little wheels, a little ripping exhaust. And then over here in the corner we have an Alfa Romeo Giulietta, and that's an amazing car, an ASA, which is baby Ferrari. That car is a 4-cylinder version of Ferrari. The details, the styling, the mechanical bits and pieces are miniaturized Ferrari units, and it's a very rare car. I don't know how many they made, but in your life you might see a couple of these if you're a car enthusiast, and keep your eyes open. Pretty cool stuff. You have a really cool collection of cars.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to come in here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Finding old cars, you got to be a salesman. You got to talk to old mechanics, find out where the old restorers live, go to auto parts stores, go to repair shops. So next time you're on your way to get pizza or a quart of milk, see how many cars you can find on the way home. Happy hunting.